how to do a reference all home. Now what a reference all home does, it allows the machine and the software to know where this cutter is with respect to where it is on the table. When you first switch it on, or any time you switch the machine on, the software doesn't know where this cutter is. And the only way it does know where this cutter is if it can activate these little micro switches that there are on the machines. Okay? There are 3 micro switches. One that detects when it's right at the top of the travel here, one that detects when the gantry is right at the right forward, and another one that detects when it's right over to the far left here. Okay? So at the moment the machine is, I've just switched the machine on, it hasn't got a clue where it is. Okay, so what we need to do now is make sure there's nothing obstructions and then do what's called a reference all home. Okay, now there's a couple of things to note. Okay, if you see, this is the typical Mach screen. If you see this button here, it says machine coords. Right, there's 2 functions with this button here. When it's red like that, with a red ring around it, these numbers refer to this cutter with respect to the micro switches. How far down and how far away and how far away that way that cutter is. And when you first switch it on, it will show you some numbers, but the numbers are not true. So the first thing you've got to do is do a reference all home, and it will then reset itself and it will know where it is. And it does this by first, when you click the reference all home button, it first moves the Z-axis up until it hits a micro switch and then resets this value. It then moves the Y gantry forward till it hits a micro switch and resets this value. Then it sends the carriage to the left, far left as possible, till it hits a micro switch and it stops there and resets there. So and when you do that, make sure there's no obstructions on the machine, and just click, make sure the red ring is on, and the way you do that is by just clicking on it. When there's no red ring on it, it means it's something else, another mode. Then you click it again until you get a red ring. Red ring is good. Okay? So once you've got that, all you do then is click this long thin button called Ref All Home. Now you can see the Z-axis, and as you can see, it's moving. It is moving slowly, and what's happening is the Z-axis is coming up. When it's a micro switch, it's zeros, and then round this little button here, it goes green to say it's found a micro switch. Now it's doing the same with the Y-axis. It's bringing the Y-axis forward, okay, and numbers are going down, and then it will finally go to, the numbers don't refer to the position at the moment, only when that's green, the number means anything. So it hits a micro switch, backs off, and turns green. Now it's doing the same with the Z-axis, with the X-axis. As you can see, the X-axis is turning, and is moving slowly to the left. And the same thing, so you'll have, this figure will go down and down and down. Notice that it's still red here. When it hits a micro switch, they're all green. All green and all zeros. So that's reference all home, okay? And those figures only really mean anything when that button there has got a red ring around it. Okay, so this is what's called, when it's red like that, the absolute position of the machine. And the absolute position of the machine is when the cutter is as high as possible, as far forward as possible, and as far left as possible. As you can see, it's right up against the stop there, it's right up against the stop there, and it's got nowhere to travel at the top there. So that's how to do ref all. Remember, this is the absolute position. So this with the machine is 0, 0, 0, which is 0x, 0y, and 0z. 0z is from the top here for absolute position.